We've got a brand new episode of The Ones Who Live. I've done a brief review of it, but let's see what the episode mission is like. Brief Tenderness. This is from the episode By, Season 1, Episode 3. Temporarily avoiding everyone's gaze, they share a moment of tenderness. I think it's probably going to be when they're pushing the thing. That doesn't really describe the scene, but it's going to be... Yeah, there it is. So we've got Rick as boss. We've got Michonne as well. Okay, we've got a threat counter, so I think Michonne might be useful here. Her thinning the herd could be a bit of a boon. So her leadership trait also sometimes lets you get an extra action after making a kill, so that's kind of handy. She can kill whatever's nearby and then push the trolley, whatever you would call it, that thing that they had in the episode. I'm kind of keen to keep everybody together. Detonate the explosives. Right. Let's make some steady progress. Now, often when you blow things up, there can be collateral damage. So I'm going to get Michonne behind this. I mean, this is a slight change to what happened in the show. The trolley didn't blow up, but okay. Okay, and then we got some speedies. That's ever so interesting. We're going to kill 2 of them. The chances of getting an extra action is pretty high, though it didn't happen. Let's just work to put some distance. I like the way they're using the speedies here as a sort of a pursuit force. That's a nice way of using their innate extra speed, sort of hastening you towards the end. It's just a nice touch for this particular episode mission. Okay, so this seems like a slightly more lengthy episode mission than we've been getting recently. And let's see what it's going to be like on hard. Obviously harder. But I think that's sort of that slow pace. I think that's what's going to benefit us. Let's give it a go. Let's see what happens. So, have you seen episode 3, By? What did you think? I've got a couple of thoughts. So, they fill in a couple of blanks basically before we get to the present moment. That includes Jadis explaining the relationship that her rubbish people, the people who lived in the flipping sort of rubbish tip, the garbage pail adults, their relationship with the CRM, and it doesn't really make that much sense. You're like, the more you think about it, you're like, well, why would the CRM need you guys to do anything? Like, how did you first meet and connect and develop any kind of a transactional relationship? You remember they all spoke like idiots. So okay, it's fine. I like Jadis as a character. I like the concept of the CRM. I think it's a logical step. But the more you think about it, you're like, what would compel anyone in the CRM to think that they would have needed Jadis's group? It's just. But anyway, got some great performances from Andrew Lincoln, as always. Great moment sort of early on when he's talking to Thorne. I liked sort of a little bit further on from that scene where Rick is imploring Thorne to sort of like, please don't turn us in or anything. We've got Alice / Jadis making a very good point. Hey, look, you and Michonne could live here with the CRM. It's like, it's about as good a shot as you're going to get. The alternative is to just go out in the wasteland and live amongst the walkers. And it's like, why don't you just stay here and have like a really, really good life? And she's got a point. Something that came up. Does Rick still have his signature Colt Python? Doesn't seem to, does he? I guess he wouldn't. 11 minutes in, we get Michonne's cover, Dana Bethune. I like that her surname kind of sounds similar to Michonne. So if somebody sort of said it, that cocktail party effect might kick in. I don't know where she got the inspiration for that name, but it sounds close enough that she might recognize it. Sort of. Well, let's see who we're going to have here. Let's have Connie. Yeah, that's a great weapon for you, actually. Oh, we just got to kill stuff. Come on, Rickety Rick. I think this is a weapon that'll work for us. Let's get it on. Yeah, I liked it when a character described Michonne as, "You radiate shit knowing. Hence, I think you know your shit." Which is great. That's a great line. Terrifying for Michonne because she's desperately trying to stay under the radar, but that's just not. She's just too good. She just stands out. Yeah, we had Terry O'Quinn as the sort of he seems to be the sort of the leader of the CRM. He pops up. He says a couple of lines. You know, a eulogy where we don't learn much about him, and he doesn't seem to do much. At the moment, I don't know why he's even in the show. He doesn't seem to have much of a presence. Okay, sorry if there was a bit of disruption in the video. It's because a phone call came through and that interrupted the video, but we are back. Okay, so where were we? Yeah, Thorn. So I was just talking about Terry O'Quinn's character. You know, the big boss doesn't seem to be doing much. Thorn, completely different. I think that she is a really interesting character. She feels like an actual person with her own ambitions. She makes a very good point with like, "Hey, look, Rick, I've been covering your back, but I've got my own stuff going on, you know, and I'm not necessarily just going to throw myself, you know, into the fire for you." She seems like a great character. She feels like she's the protagonist in her own show, which is great. She's I would say the most interesting thing in the show at the moment, because you don't quite know where she's going to turn, what she's going to do. That's very interesting. Turnstile Walker death. I've just put a note there. That was a great death. Just a walker getting sliced by a turnstile. That's the kind of classic stuff that we like to see in The Walking Dead. Rick obviously sets up an escape for himself and Michonne. Turns out that he's not coming. Get it. It's a big twist. I wasn't expecting it, but it's absolutely entirely reasonable that Rick would make that decision. And then, of course, Michonne just comes back, and you're like, that is exactly what she would do. I like the writing there. Those are both things that the characters would do, even though, you know, they're creating problems for each other. You're like, yeah, that's what Rick would do. He would think of Michonne. He would not be thinking of himself. And Michonne just would be like, no, I'm not having that. And she would come back. We get a wonderful line from Rick. "You're a hero with a shit haircut." Absolutely fantastic. There's no denying that Jadis does indeed have terrible hair. We get an insight into the origins of Rick's heirloom, the phone. I can't help but think that Rick's CRM is going to be a weapon at some point. He draws that weapon. He thinks that Thorn is maybe going to take out Michonne when they're having their little secret chat. We get a good look at Rick's CRM pistol. It looks pretty meaty. I think that should be a weapon. We get to this point where we're doing this episode mission. This is where it feels like the episode is going. I felt like the episode was a little languid compared to the first two. It wasn't until the end, you know, that it got things going. I like the bit again in this where Michonne is making that lonely charge with the trolley, and then the camera pans. She looks across, camera pans across. Rick is right there, and you're like, that's what we want to see in this show. It's like, yes, they are together. They're working together. Rick would risk everything. He's not leaving her alone. It's nice. Towards the end, it felt a little bit silly that Thorn is still entirely trusting Rick. Shouldn't she have some sort of, I don't know, issues with everything. It feels like it's got to that point. Big ending twist. Just jumping out of that copter. Big surprise. Again, it's something that Michonne would do. It is a bold move. It sets up for episode 4. So generally speaking, I thought that Bai was treading water a little bit. I'm looking more forward to the next episode and the things that it was setting up. That looks a bit more exciting. This felt like a bit of a holding pattern. I'm not saying it's bad, and it did have its moments. It just, I don't think it moved at the right pace for where we are in the show. There's only 6 episodes. Shall I? What the hell? Not worth it. Let me know what you think of this episode mission. Let me know what you think of season 1, episode 3 Bai. And if you're keen, today, later on, I will be live streaming The Distance and The Last Stand. Hopefully see you then. Till then, catch you on the next one.